Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, as it's a Wednesday, we always do something a bit different on a Wednesday. We've got a video where I'm going to be saying, in my opinion, every Prem club's signing of the season. So, as if you don't know, it's been both transfer windows of football have now been done, the summer transfer and the January transfer window. So I thought, why not just basically say in my opinion who signed the best player from every club. I did after the summer transfer window, the top 5 teams of the summer transfer window, but this is different. This is like all the teams, and it's throughout both windows. So yeah, if you're on your idea and you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do indeed like the video, and let's get straight into it. So we start off with Arsenal as well, obviously, and I'm gonna go with Thomas Partey. I think Thomas Partey has been solid at the back. I think he's had a bit of injury problems, but when he has played, he has looked quite good. And out of the players Arsenal have signed, yes, they've signed Ødegaard now, but he hasn't had much game time, and he's like, so I think Partey, personally for me, I think out of the signings that Arsenal have made this season, it's obviously between either him or Gabriel, and I think he's just been a bit more solid than Gabriel, because Gabriel, yes, has been very good, but occasionally does make the sloppy mistake and gives away a goal or something like that. But so I've gone with Partey over Gabriel. Moving on to Aston Villa now, though, we've got, so this was between Ollie Watkins and Emi Martinez, and I chose Emi Martinez because I think to get him for, I think it was about 15-16 million is an absolute bargain. I might be wrong about the price, but you know, and he's just been completely solid. He's kept Aston Villa in a lot of games with his amazing saves, and I think he edges it over Watkins, but Watkins also had a good season as well. But I think Martinez has been one of the best buys, maybe of the transfer window, and I think is probably one of the better goalies in the league at the moment. Big call, but I'm saying it. Moving on to Brighton now. Brighton didn't make loads of transfers in the window, so I chose Veltman. I think Veltman's probably been the most solid, has been the most consistent, and brought a lot of experience into the team. So yeah, I think overall he's probably been the best signing, and I mean, he's not been that bad. I think he scored a goal about a week ago. I might be lying, but you know, he's been good, he's been solid, and out of everybody Brighton signed this season, I'm going with Veltman to be the best, I guess. Moving on to Burnley, this is an interesting one. Burnley have literally signed like nobody, and I think the players they have signed haven't even played. So I did pick somebody. I picked Stevens, that they signed from Brighton, but I don't even think he's played a game. I don't think he's done anything, but he joined the club, and I think he was the only money buy that they actually spent, and he was about 900k. So Stevens it is, but Burnley, I get what's going on. You don't have much money at the moment, and you don't have the best owners, so fair enough. But for this video, it makes it quite hard. So yeah, I've just gone with Stevens. Moving on to Chelsea, though, we've got Thiago Silva. So this was an interesting one. Out of all the attackers that they signed, and out of they signed Edouard Mendy, very solid goalie, but not quite up there as much. I mean, Werner, no. Havertz, no. Ziyech, no. Chilwell, maybe, but not really. I think overall, Thiago Silva has been the most solid and has really kind of come into the team and done well. He started off a bit shaky, but he's come in and he's just been an absolute leader, and I think he deserves the best transfer for Chelsea this season, and I hope they get him for another season. I don't know if he's retiring, but he shouldn't do. Well, Chelsea shouldn't let that happen because he's just so solid and so good for their defence. Moving on to Crystal Palace, so we've got Eberechi Eze, pretty much an obvious one. Brings so much skill, brings so much flair. He's kind of like a backup Zaha in a way, and what he does on the ball is amazing. The way he shoots is amazing. The free kicks, I think he scored 2 or 1, but the ones he have scored are really, really nice, and he just brings a lot more to the team, and it just means they don't have to rely on Zaha just to do everything. They have Eze to kind of bring into the team and do well as well. Moving on to Everton, though, we've got James Rodriguez. I think it was between a few players. Like, they've brought in Ben Godfrey, they've brought in Decore, they've brought in Rodriguez, And I mean, all of them have been amazing signings. What Ancelotti have done with all of them is amazing. But I think out of everybody, he's probably done the best. So I chose him to be Everton's best transfer. Moving on to Fulham though, so we've got Ademola Lookman I chose. I think they've made a few good signings. Loftus-Cheek, Areola, Lookman, good signings, good solid signings. But I think overall Lookman from, I think it's RB Leipzig they signed him from, has been a very good signing and a very solid player. So yeah, he's my Fulham pick, and I mean if they can stay up with a player like Lookman, and maybe if they can get him on another loan next season, I think he'll do well again. But he did just take a little bit to get into the Premier League, but now he's kind of about and he looks very good. Moving on to Leeds now, we've got Rafinha. I think Rafinha has been one of the bargains of the transfer window. I think it was about 20 million maybe, but overall I think Rafinha's been amazing, and I think that he's just been a big bargain really, and he's very underrated as well. Like, people are only just realising how good he is, and for Leeds to have him is a big thing. Moving on to Leicester now, we've got a player that I talked about in my last video, in my under-21s video, Fofana. I think a bargain buy, I think 10 million, and to come in and do what he's doing, to be as solid as he is. I mean, it could have been a person like Castagno if he kept up his form that he was doing at the start of the season, but he kind of has dropped off a little bit and he got injured for a bit, I think. But overall, I think Fofana has probably been the most solid and the most consistent at the back, and has been the best player, and at his young age as well, to be doing what he's doing is a very big thing. Moving on to Liverpool now, you'd think I'd be going with Thiago because that was a big buy of the season, but he's just not been as good as he was with Bayern. So I'm going with Diogo Jota. I think he's injured at the moment, but when he's actually not injured and he's fit to play, he's been amazing. He's come off the bench and scored, I think, 5 or 6 goals in like 7 or 8 games, and he was just scoring them for fun at one point. But I think he has slowed down now because he's injured, I think. But if he can go back and just keep doing what he was doing, that is amazing, and it would be a big bargain and a big buy for Liverpool, as he is probably Prem quality to be up there with a side like Liverpool, the way he's playing at least. Moving on to Man City though, this is probably the buy of the season from any club really, but I mean it makes sense as it's Man City, a big club that spends a lot of money. We've got Diaz. I think Diaz has just completely sorted out their defence. He's come in and just been amazing with John Stones since the beginning, and he's just been solid at the back and has really sorted out their defensive problems. And I think, best sign of the season. That's really all else I can say. And saying that he's doing it at a young age as well, it's just amazing, really. Moving on to Man United, they didn't make loads of signings, but like they have Van der Beek, which was a big signing for them, but he's just not really played enough, and he's not really done enough when he has played to really get in there. So instead, I've gone with Cavani. I think Cavani has been decent this season and has been kind of like a good kind of swap with Martial, because Martial, as you probably know, isn't always as good as he can be. But yeah, so to bring in a player like Cavani to work with him is good. It's probably helped his morale a lot, and maybe it will make him be better as well. But at the moment, Cavani, very good, and to get him in, I think on a free, is a bargain and a good deal. Moving on to Newcastle now. This is kind of an obvious one. Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson, he's injured now, which is a huge loss for Newcastle, because what he's been doing for Newcastle has been amazing. He's come in and he's just kind of hit the ground running. Basically, what Newcastle did, they've done the opposite of what they did last season. So at the start of last season, they brought in Joe Linton. They thought a young prospect probably would be quite good, but they overspent and he really, really wasn't that good. And now they've brought in Callum Wilson. They've trusted with an English talent that's been proven in the Premier League, and he's done it again. He's proven himself for Newcastle now, and he's just really, really solid. And for a team like Newcastle to have him, it's a big, big thing, because they don't have an amazing side, but with Callum Wilson, he makes their side a lot, lot better. So it'll be a big loss, and it'll be interesting to see how Newcastle will react now that they don't have him for a bit. So, from what we've seen, they've just started going downhill, which kind of shows the impact of Callum Wilson in their team. Moving on to Sheffield United now, though. They haven't made loads of big signings, but I put in Ethan Ampadu because I think he's been a solid defensive kind of figure. And yes, they have conceded quite a bit this season, not loads because they've just kind of lost like kind of scrappy kind of ways, like 2-1s or 1-0s or something like that. But he has been solid for them, and if they get relegated, I know he is out on loan, but if they get relegated, I don't think he should go back to Sheffield because he's definitely a Prem quality defender and doesn't deserve to be in the Championship. But at the moment, a very solid defender and definitely could make it big one day. But he probably has to leave Chelsea to be able to do that, because otherwise he's just going to keep getting sent out on loan, I think. Moving on to Southampton, though, we've got Kyle Walker-Peters, has been quite solid this season, and it was either between him, Walcott, Minamino, but I've gone with him because last season he was solid and very good when Southampton were playing very good, but they only had him on loan, and now this season they've properly bought him, and I think that was a very good buy, very smart buy, and now he's been doing pretty well this season. But Southampton recently haven't been doing amazing, but I still think Walker-Peters has been playing quite well, but I think he's probably been the best signing for them this season, and hopefully Southampton can get back on good form and get him playing well again. Moving on to Spurs now, we've got Højbjerg. I think Højbjerg has really sorted out like their midfield kind of passing, and they've really helped out the defence a bit. They don't have an amazing defence, Spurs, but I think Højbjerg has really helped out the defence and really been solid. And I mean, the goal he scored, I can't remember who he was against, but the goal he scored was a really nice goal, and I think he was worth pretty much every penny. And hopefully he'll keep playing well like that, because he was kind of like an underrated buy, a buy that not many people were really linked with him. And for Spurs to come in and just buy him like that is something what they normally do, and I mean, it's worked out for them. Moving on to West Brom now, I've gone with Matheus Pereira. I think it's kind of obvious because last season he was with West Brom on loan, and now this season he's kind of been bought in properly, and he's kind of been doing very well for them again. I would say very well, but I think very well for what West Brom are like, well, for a relegation kind of like stature team. But I think Pereira has come in top goal scorer now, I think top assister for the club, and has done very well, and is kind of just doing what he did last season, except from doing it as well as he can in the Premier League, as now it is a bit harder opponents. But I don't think he is a Championship player, and if West Brom do get relegated, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Hopefully he stays, as I am a West Brom fan, and I hope he stays. But yeah, moving on to West Ham now, we've got Souček. I think an amazing buy, and for what he's doing on the pitch is just kind of crazy. You don't see many CDMs being able to score as much as he is and do as much as he is. But yeah, I think just an amazing buy, and if he keeps scoring the way he's scoring, then maybe Golden Boot winner soon. But yeah, another kind of like shout out to Kufal, quite an underrated right back that they bought in, has been very solid as well with Souček, like both Czech Republic players that they've got in from the Czech, and has been really solid as well. But yeah, that was just a little shout out. Moving on to the last team now, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I've gone with Semedo. I think Semedo hasn't always been amazing this season, saying he's come from Barcelona, he's meant to be a big kind of name, but I think from what he's done, he's kind of replaced Doherty quite well. But I feel like also Wolves' transfer window hasn't been amazing. I mean, Fabio Silva hasn't been amazing this season, and I mean, I know he is young and you got to give him time, but I think Semedo's probably been their best transfer. And yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. As always, like I say, if you disagree with anything that I say, put that in the comment section below, and then I'll probably end up agreeing with you. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Like the video if you did indeed like the video. Subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.